The greatest advice I have for you right now is to try and address your source. So this can be whatever you want, whatever you deem important. On a subject, or like I just did, regarding myself, regarding addressing myself, my timeless I. You know that when you're really in a good mood and everything seems to align properly, that's when you think you're in a special mood or you're having a special day, but try to take that perspective and uh, put it back into place. You'll quickly see that there's not really any mood and that every moment is very new, even if it may seem old or um, regular. It still has a new sense or even the same sense, but it will hit you in a different way because you're looking at it as a new person. Make yourself comfortable with life. Now that you're here, you're clearly where you are. Make yourself comfortable with it. This doesn't necessarily mean you can't experience any discomfort, but it more so means that you really want to experience it as if you are. I'm starting to contemplate whether that's having to take everything seriously. Maybe a better way to think about it is an accumulation of feelings and thoughts, or the way of managing those, your state of being. Make sure you can let some profound emotional waves go as you move through life, because this is life right now. Have a moment of silence, observe some thoughts you do not want to express any further or contemplate any further. So that's kind of relaxing prior to taking a more active stance in your lifestyle. I personally really like to see the reflection of how I'm part of life and how I get back what I'm thinking about, what I'm conscious of. At least I like to see those subjects active in my life in a full, vividly manifested way. And I gotta say, sometimes this works better than other times, but that's clearly one of the big goals I'm working towards. It has worked extremely well sometimes, where I truly feel in touch with life and I feel like I really get what I want in a more manifested way than I could have imagined. Just by promoting and bringing into language the positive aspects of the subject. I don't know if this first episode is going to be about that, because I kind of just want to take it easy this first episode and see what life brings us in thought meditation or uh, maybe observing of the state of being. I kind of just feel like focusing on being one with the world that we know, that we really see around us, kind of being one with that and feeling comfortable with it or interacting with it in some way. Let's see. I saw a bird fly by. It looked really beautiful. I more often get the sense that I really synergize well with birds. Um, I have a big interest in flying as well, or the perspective of being in the sky, looking down at the earth. I've been listening to some Muji before this recording, and the way he speaks and the people there at Satsang speak, it really allows me to handle handle my own reactions better, like um, vary them more from what I would naturally respond like in person. Um, like I try this all the time for myself, but I feel like a true connection with those people from satsang. The way they speak, the way they bring their life into words, really rings with me. You know that when you're really in a good mood and everything seems to align properly, that's when you think you're in a special mood or you're having a special day. But try to take that perspective and put it back into place. You'll quickly see that there's not really any mood and that every moment is very new. Even if it may seem old or um, regular, it still has a new sense or even the same sense, but it will hit you in a different way because you're looking at it as a new person. Sometimes I'm really into making my body feel good emotionally. Today, or just then, I felt a little bit strained doing so. Sometimes you have clear strains in your life or distractions. And I'd say it's important to put them in a right place where you can either leave them be for a bit, let them go entirely, or where you interact with them. But this brings us back to the point that I made earlier, where you're really in your own life and you can handle it as you want. So use that initial freedom to have a fresh perspective and to be creative. I'm getting inspired on the subject of expectation and inspiration. If you have a certain inspiration to get something done or interact with a certain subject, then you don't really have to worry as much about having it unfold in a certain way. You can trust that inspiration and move with it naturally in the way that you want to, in the way that would work. And then how it manifests contributes to the way that you see life again. Of course, there's certain priorities that you need in your life, but I prioritize having my personal perspective be able to cope with all kinds of situations, like described earlier. The way that you can see life in a varied way while still being yourself. There are many ways to see certain emotions and states of being and thoughts. But yeah, like I was saying, I already have been for maybe a year. I've been writing things down regarding spirituality just because I like to develop myself in that field of life. I've been watching a lot of teachings. And yeah, I've been really surrounding myself with the subject, I like to also travel to locations where more spiritual people are and find more communities, or really get in touch with the communities that I already know as well. That's a big aspiration of mine. But I got enough information to trust in the fact that I'm connected to those subjects, really. And that's kind of a repetition of what I meant already. But I suggest that you first really feel in touch with what you want to do or be or have in whatever way you want. Because from that true inspiration, that for me kind of got lost in high school, that I've been able to bring back again. That true inspiration, that honest interaction, that really empowers. It's not to be too critical about my high school period because it really allowed me to view my thoughts and emotions from an outside perspective, really kind of develop my way of thinking, way of seeing the world, way of discussing about the world. So, okay, that's that. Let's do something new. I want to try to get in touch with some thoughts and some words and maybe some emotions that really describe spirituality and give you that feeling of being connected with the world. Ah, I suggest looking at a subject, even difficult subjects, until you really find a point where you can settle yourself in a big event or emotion that truly means something to you. Because if you don't, you're gonna get caught in distractions. Also, I think I'd love to develop this spiritual talk into more of a podcast. This is kind of a forward thinking thought. I don't know if it's gonna happen anytime soon. But I may want to invite some spiritual people to talk with about life. Anyway, kind of got distracted there. We're back onto finding some emotions and states of being that really make you feel like you're in touch with life. I guess the way to justify that little segue I had is by saying that if you're with like-minded people or thoughts or beings, um, whatever you're sensitive to, if you're together with those kinds of influences, that really expands your experience in a multidimensional way. I think what's really important is to move in a direction that you're agreeing with, more so than being completely fulfilled with life. You want to manifest the dynamic of handling things in a way that you like. To get more specific on that, I just thought, and it's also a problem with this thought I just shared, is that I thought I was uncomfortable with the fact that I'm too much in control of my own experience. But then I do remember how big it is if you share your thoughts with someone else and you get something back that's just fully refreshing and new. Do you observe first or do you... Yeah, please let me know in the comments. Do you observe? Do you like to observe first? For example, when meditating, do you like to observe in a certain way? Or do you try to conjure a state of being that comes from within? Do you try to... Do you really try to uh, make something happen? Do you try to let go of what's already happening? I've moved away from that, and I'd like to just find these states of being that are very energetic and harmonious with the subjects that are occurring. Which reminds me, this may sound a little bit too professional right now. Bit too much as if we're trying to achieve something. More so than which what we're supposed to do, maybe, is feel more enjoyment. So let's try to come up with an example how to enjoy life. But I feel like I've described it already. You know what I mean? I'm just describing it right there. It feels good to know that you've already done it. And this really doesn't have to be on the terms of any physical transaction or construction or achievement or whatever. This is really a thing that only you can discern or value. It's a really personal thing. And that's where I describe the creative process of interacting with your thoughts. You don't have to take things at a literal level. I do understand wanting to be connected to the world around you, and that's also where what I'm going for. Let's try that next. It's nice to be in continued conversation with life. I do feel like I'm pushing out a little bit too many words. How do I address my senses? By expressing yourself and recognizing your desire of change and desire of interaction while interacting, you can discover a really great truth. The greatest advice I have for you right now is to try and address your source. So this can be whatever you want, whatever you deem important. On a subject, or like I just did, regarding myself, regarding addressing myself, my timeless I. I'm pretty satisfied with this recording so far. I think I may call it here, and this will be my first upload. Thank you guys for watching. Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.